Uh, Hello, Selina.
Hi, wonderful to see you. Good to see
Yeah.
everyone.
First of all, for everyone who's joining us online, sorry for these few technical issues, but we're getting back on track. So yes, I want to introduce here Selina, which is which is going to give this keynote speech for the workshop day and for the all conference. And I think she's going to be better introducing herself, but I only want to mention that she was a former IPSA president, and so she has quite some experience in IPSA and in youth, and also keeping involvement there. So thank you, Selina, for joining us, and that's your word.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for the hard work you're doing to put this entire event on. It's been really wonderful to not only see the agenda, but also to just experience the excitement of doing this in real time. So I just wanted to appreciate you all. I work with the Global Landscapes Forum. And so after IFSA, that is the first workplace that I joined. And I really have had the most incredible time really building an exciting kind of adventure for myself. It's never really felt like work because I've been able to grow and be challenged in so many different ways. But if you know the Global Landscapes Forum, you'll know we organize several different events. And I just wanted to share that, day one and that first session is full of technical difficulties, no matter how many times you prepare. So I just wanted to thank everyone for doing this work. And it is an exciting time as we step into this kind of next 3-day experience. So I wanted to take some time to just share a few kind of pieces of advice in terms of how I would approach building your own leadership style. There's a relevant, there's an aspect, of course, of building your career, but I also really want to talk about your own leadership, because once you've identified what your role and your strengths and what excites you, the career will follow. So yeah, I want to maybe invite everyone who's watching to indulge me in closing your eyes. I'll do it too. All right, so I want everyone to close their eyes and then take a deep breath. So this is an exercise that I do every now and then, which basically I want you to imagine that you are in a cafe. And now you're going to imagine kind of your future self 5 years from now. And they're going to walk into the cafe. So there's real you right now, and then there's future you that's going to walk in. And so some of the questions you can think about is, what is your future you wearing? How is your future self holding themselves? What energy are they bringing into the room? And you're going to sit down with future you and have a conversation. You can ask them how they structure their days, what motivates and excites them, where are they working, what are they doing, who have they become? And when I do this exercise, it generally takes a good 10 minutes of deep breath and finding quiet and peace and trying to visualize. But I wanted to give you all the opportunity. You can open your eyes if you still have them closed. I wanted to give you all the opportunity to have this exercise because it can share a lot of information to you around what do you know right now. Most of the time, I'd say I would hold on to the feeling. What was the feeling that you got when you closed your eyes and you thought about your future self? The actual details will begin to emerge as you learn more about yourself. But for example, I think some of the qualities that can come up in your future self will reflect the skills or the traits that you want to cultivate more of. I know for myself, for example, I did this exercise a few years back for the first time. And every time I do it more and more, it gets clearer. But I remember future me being so at ease, so comfortable. She was really grounded in community, really someone who brought people together and created space for conversation. And I realized that at that time, I wanted to do more of that. I have been someone who is very terrified of speaking with people, which is funny because I've built quite a habit of public speaking now. But it's something also that I've always wanted to cultivate. So I think it's I'd invite you all whether you see a clear vision or not, use this exercise every now and then so that you're able to just better understand what the future may hold for you. And as you find those answers, it's exciting to see that image crystallize a little bit more. So when it comes to developing your leadership style, first off, I would say find your community or a community you can serve, right? Because there is no leadership without community. For me, this was IFSA. I joined as an undergrad student when I was studying at the School of Forestry in Seattle. And it was always because I was interested in the global perspective. And I was really interested in the policy elements. Like, what is the big picture that we're talking about that can really influence decision-making and that influence kind of the outcomes that we're seeing? So I'm very excited for all of you who are joining to talk about the important role of policy. We need more young people here. We need more diverse perspectives. And we need people who can bring their perspectives and the experiences of the community into the room, into the decision-making room, into how people think about these issues, which can feel very far away. So I'll tell you, I joined IFSA at the local level. I remember, I think I was the vice president of like marketing. So we were just organizing local events. I had an opportunity to really practice with my communication skills, with what it looked like to organize an event. But I was still really craving an opportunity to engage at the policy level. So the second I had an opportunity to run for an IFSA position, I actually needed a lot of encouragement, but I had good friends who told me, you should do it, jump into this challenge. So that was my first experience in the policy realm of organizing young people and our perspectives coming into the UN Forum on Forest, for example. And you'll feel generally that when you're scared or terrified, that's a good thing. You're probably in a good place. It means you're stretching yourself, you're challenging yourself. So I remember feeling that way in preparation for the UN events, as you're reading these really lengthy documents and thinking, in all this policy, where are people? What can I offer and bring to the table? And I'd encourage every one of you to not, how do I say this? To not shrink in spaces of power. It's something that is so natural for us as young people to think that, we don't have something of value we can bring to the table. If you have embedded yourself in your community, if you have experience serving and practicing and bringing their perspectives into the room, you have something valuable to bring to the table. So definitely do not shrink in spaces of power. I constantly remind myself this everywhere that I go. But again, there's that moment of fear. And here I am as, the representative for the IFSA International Processes Commission. And I need to make a statement in front of the UN on this, the UN Strategic Plan on Forests. And it was a really exciting adventure to figure out, how do I do that? What is the content that we need to bring in? But also beyond the content, how do you deliver that message in a way that's going to resonate with different stakeholders in the room? And then how are you, as the representative, going to build relationships that help you advance your cause, that help you serve your community better? And so that one piece of advice would be to find your community where you can volunteer, where you have a safe space to practice, where you can work with different individuals, learn how to kind of figure out what your strengths are. And the second piece of advice I'd say is experimentation. You have to experiment. No matter what stage you are in your career, I would recommend that you map out 3 versions of your future, 3 potential careers you can experiment with, whether that's finance, communication, and research. Maybe you know yourself and it's actually going to be research within, 3 different fields. But give yourself the opportunity to experiment and to not decide so quickly, this is the person I'm going to be and these are the skills I want to build. So once you've mapped out, maybe 2 credible pathways and one that's a little crazy or a little off, you have an opportunity to talk to different individuals. And that's going to happen for you today and tomorrow as we go through this experience. But realize, you've got these 3 pathways and what key questions do you have in each of them? For me, I've been thinking a lot about the private sector, for example. What does their leadership look like in this issue? What are the limits to their own leadership and the impact that they can have? How do private and public partnerships work when it comes to forestry and community-led projects? So I have these questions at the back of my mind, and as I go about and as I learn and as I meet new people, I'm able to kind of bring those questions to the conversation so that I can learn a little bit more about, do I have a role here? Can my leadership show up in this space? So having those concrete 3 options to experiment with, to begin practicing with, it gives you an opportunity to learn more about your strengths, but also to remain open. The way the world works right now and the place that we're in, it is really valuable for you to learn a variety of different skills, to become proficient in different languages, in different sectors of being a bridge. So by remaining open to experiment, one, you take the pressure off yourself, but you also are able to really build skills in a new arena that provide value to many different people. So it's an opportunity also for you to start to create value for yourself as you walk into different rooms and bring new perspectives to the table as a broker, as someone who's a connector. So the other aspect I really wanted to talk about is networks. And we talk a bit about networking as an important skill. And I struggle with this. As I said, I'm not great at talking to people. As IFSA president, that was my role and my responsibility, was to often build relationships and be in conversation with others. But I can't tell you, there have been some VIP dinners that I just ran away from because I just didn't have the energy. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to be more comfortable with what networking is. And that's why it's a bit of a tough word, but I want to give you 2 pieces of information. The first is that research shows that there's strong ties and that there are weak ties. So if you think about the strong ties are the people who you regularly are in touch with, people who know you well, or people who are supporting you in your journey. These can be your mentors, your professors, your good friends. It can be a sponsor, someone who's looking out for you and giving you new opportunities. And then you have your weak ties. So your weak ties could be, if you're an IFSA, then that whole IFSA universe, the alumni, everyone, those are weak ties. You haven't tapped into it yet, but there's an opportunity. Different professional associations, your university can be one. And if you map these out and you find that you don't actually have a lot of weak ties or maybe you have a lot of strong ties, I want to share with you that they find that 85% of people find a job through their weak ties. So while we spend a lot of energy trying to build really strong personal relationships with people, and while it's incredibly valuable to have a mentor, I would invite you to start to cultivate the networks in which you are engaged in, because those networks can be really powerful in helping you find a next opportunity and helping you learn more about yourself and building different skills. So think about those weak ties. And it's okay if you don't have a lot of close relationships. So when you think about networking, there's the strong and the weak ties. And then there's a strong element of pressure, I think, that we put on ourselves, that we should be explaining, who we are, what we want, and know every detail about what our future holds. But I've found it very liberating to approach conversations by keeping that experimental framework of, who are the 3 versions that I'm playing around with, and then to be very honest with the people that you're engaging with in learning more about their careers and learning more about their pathways, and taking whatever resonates and bringing that into my toolkit. So this is something I would invite you all to think about as we move forward throughout this day. What resonates with you is a good indicator. If something excites you, if you meet someone in the living library and you love what, the energy that they're bringing and the skills they're talking about, continue to note those things down and map that out as you think about, what are the skills you want to build? What are your potential future options? And just always use that as an indicator for a good sign, because ultimately, you want to build a career for yourself that doesn't feel ideally like work. That may not always be possible, but it is really exciting when you're passionate about something. It's really exciting when you feel like you're bringing your skills to the table. And for me, I've learned that communication is absolutely critical. So, hopefully if you need it, attend the public speaking workshop. And this is communication, both in written form and in speaking. And in addition to that, I would say learning how to create impactful and memorable moments. When you bring stakeholders into a room, you have an opportunity. This can be, a moment that they're going to remember. This could be a place where new partnerships and new perspectives are built, where people leave the room thinking differently. So learning how to build your capacity to bring together meaningful events and bring together meaningful conversations is really important. And then, of course, our last session on digitization, on keeping up with the pace of change in this world and staying on top of what innovation looks like is also really, really critical. So I'm really excited for us all to kind of continue on in this workshop day. And if I can share my screen, I wanted to share one very short video because I know we're getting close to time. And this video is, you may have seen it. It comes out of a TED Talk. It's an experiment with capuchin monkeys. And basically, what they do is they give one monkey a grape in return for, it's not working. They give one monkey a grape in return for the ask. They give him a rock and they say, give us a rock back. And one monkey gets a grape. And then the other monkey doesn't get a grape. He gets a cucumber. And as you know, most people probably don't love cucumbers. But the monkey really doesn't like it. So it's not until, it's not working. I'm going to share the link in the chat and invite everyone to check it out when you have time. But essentially, it's a warning from me. Let me send this in the private chat, and then hopefully someone can share it in the group. It's a warning from me on comparison. So this monkey is totally happy when he first receives his cucumber. But the second he sees another person receive a grape, he is no longer content. He is angry. He is like shaking the thing. He's like, give me a grape. So it's just a warning for us all as you kind of go through this experience, as you meet other people, as your friends go about your careers. Do not look around and compare yourself to everyone else's reality and who got a grape and who got a cucumber, because that is really not what life is about. And it can be really dangerous to go down that path. So as long as you remain really focused on your internal vision of your future self, as for cultivating those different skills, experimenting in new ways, in ways that really excite you and make you feel like this is you're building a style of leadership that fits you. I think you'll be able to live a really happy and impactful life. So I am excited for you all. I'm going to stop probably here and hope that I can share that link in the chat at some point. But good luck in the day. And hi, Juliet. Thanks for letting me come. It's 3 a.m. here. I'm in my room. I'll probably head to bed afterwards. But it was really important for me to show up because this is such an incredible event. I'm really glad you guys are organizing it.
Okay, so thank you so much, Selena, for actually taking time to join us and forgoing your sleep. I know how important it is. We really appreciate that you could do that. And thank you so much for all the wisdom you've shared with us. I'm really impressed, and I'm glad that whatever you've mentioned is actually in line with the goals of the event, so the workshop and the conference and the climate simulation. But just to recap some important messages that I took from your talk, of course, everything was important, but yeah, just to highlight a few is that there's no leadership without a community. And that I absolutely agree with. And one of the communities that we have is IFSA. So if you're a student and you're not a member of IFSA, please join IFSA. This is a community that you need to get to your next stage of leadership and, of course, for your future career. And I also like that you stated that we should never shrink in spaces of power. I know it's always intimidating when you are with experts and maybe you're a young professional, you're a student, you're here wondering, like, what can I tell these people? But never shrink. One thing you need to know is that they are also looking for diverse perspectives from young people. So whatever ideas you have, feel free to share with them. There's no stupid idea. So maybe what you think is stupid is what they've been trying to look for, for ages. So this is a very, very important message. And thanks also for reminding us that we need to give ourselves enough time to find out what works and what doesn't work. So as young people, we like doing things fast, but it's also important to give ourselves time and also hear from others what worked for them and what didn't work for them, and then maybe pick 1 or 2 lessons from there. And one of the ways that you can learn from others actually today is by joining the Living Library session. So please join the session so that you can hear what your peers have to say about their careers or about time management and many other topics. And lastly, Selina, thank you for reminding us that we need to get out of our comfort zone and network with others. So yes, no matter what kind of personality you have, please try to network with others, because there's no man is an island. You need to talk to other people. You need to connect. You need to learn from them. And this is how you get a chance to, be somewhere. So please reach out to people. Please connect, and you don't know what will come out of it. It might be something you never expected. So we are hoping that through the networking session, those who have they will use the networking session to strengthen any weak ties that might be there. So please go all out, interact with others, and learn from them. Thank you so much, Selina, once again. It was nice to have you here. So I will pass over the microphone to my colleague, Paulina, who will now take us to the next sessions.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, and enjoy the day.
Hi. Okay. My name is Paulina, and I'm part of IFSA, and I'm definitely out of my comfort zone. So thanks to Selina for introducing today's morning session, and thanks to Juliet for summarizing it. And now I would like to invite everyone to 3 different sessions that we have. And the first one is a public speaking and how to prepare for it by Carla Brown. Then we also have digitalization in the forest sector, moderated by Thilo Wagner, and designing an engaging conference 101 by Irini and Pep. And you can participate in one of the sessions, and then in the afternoon you can join in other sessions of your choice. And to find a session, you can find it on the left side of your Hopin screen. And if you have any technical issues, please let us know. Thank you.